All right, we're rolling. What's up?
What's up, Sean? Welcome back, everybody. We're about to have our next episode of the Plutocrats. We got a lot to talk about today. Some good topics. Got a lot of stuff to talk about. We might not even get to it all.
Yeah, Amazon, commercial real estate, student debt, SPACs, tons of stuff, right?
New all-time highs everywhere. Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of people angry about that student debt. So is that what you want to start off with?
Yeah, we could start off with that. We got plenty of stuff here. I got a whole list, but yeah, we'll start off
Cool.
there. So we talked about it a little bit previously. Just the idea of wanting to pay off or eliminate student debt, and it's just I don't know. We said a couple of different things last time, but it just comes down to the fact that like it's just not a feasible plan in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it's just the government. At that point, I think they're really going to cause a lot of resentment between people. I think it's a very touchy subject. Every time you see people it's very rare you see news reporters getting, you do see news reporters getting emotional when dealing with Trump. But besides that, on other topics, you don't really see them getting as emotional. But whenever I see news reporters interviewing someone who's pro eliminating student debt, for the most part, even you could tell in the news reporters' tones that they get a little angry when they start saying like, "Oh, we need to cancel this now. Like, it's not fair that we're sitting on all this debt." Because a lot of people in this day and age had to pay $20,000-$30,000 in debt down when they got out of college. So, what are you
Yeah.
going to say to those people who responsibly worked their asses off through college or lived at home for 5 years after college to pay their debt down, while other people went
Mhm.
and lived a life on $150,000 debt, went in vacations, got apartments in Manhattan, and now
Yeah.
they're gonna just chop that off the block?
No,
So,
yeah. I mean, I have a buddy who I was talking to just last week, and I think I told you about it when uh, he's the assistant groundskeeper for the Nationals. 2 or 3 years in, just got it right out of college, and it was the first year out of college, and the Nationals won the World Series, so he got $50,000 check, nice check, and cut a good portion of it to just clear the student loans. Did the responsible thing, and he's like, dude, I'm gonna be pissed if I get screwed on the back end because I was being a you know, responsible borrower and paying back my obligation. And I was like, yeah, dude, I'm right there with you. I feel you. It's it's incredible that and what happens in January or what happens in August when the new grades come in. Is college just free now? Do they just not have to uh
exactly. It's it's it it's a slippery slope to start going down.
yeah.
Yeah, it is. How many they say they like to throw around, whatever, 4 trillion or however trillions of dollars. So, but there's just better ways to clear it up. I think it's just, and if you notice, everyone who's advocating for it, they're all between our age and like 33 years old max. Very
Yeah.
rare do you see someone 40 plus, 50 plus out there advocating, saying, "Oh, we need to give these youngsters a pat on the back, a little break." No,
No. Yeah. And
it's not.
yeah,
It's not feasible.
let me flip it up
It
in this. Uh, what it would be is federal student loans. So you eliminate student federal or
mm,
federal student loans, right? Those are gone, disbanded. What does that make the loan situation look? Are there no more federal student loans anymore? Does everybody have to go and privately pay for college if they can't pay for college, or privately borrow to pay for college, Discover, whoever it may be?
there are
The
certain
enrollment is going to drop drastically.
there are definitely certain federal student loans that you don't have to pay back, I'm pretty sure. So that is an interesting point on what would happen to the federal student loans from here on out.
Mhm.
Maybe they would all just become those ones you don't have to pay back. But in that case, it's gonna if
What
it
does
went
that mean
now
for the
like
dollar
for
long term? What does that mean for?
well, not even that, but let's say now, like for example, I know I had to pay back all my loans. I didn't get any free
Yeah,
money that
me
I
as
didn't have to
well.
pay back. I'm sure you sure. So now let's say they have to give us a portion of that. And before, the kid that actually needed it was getting 6,000, and now because everybody's got to get a cut, that kid's getting 1,000. So I feel like like you said, it's going to cost everyone more money in the long term in more than one way. Whether it's one, someone owns those Sally Mae, that they cut
Yeah,
those
yeah, yeah. They're cutting.
payments
They're
up
yeah
into
packaging them.
CLOs or something,
Mhm.
CDOs, something. They're cut up into something right now into tranches, and someone has that in their portfolio right now, and they're getting those payments every single month. So
Yeah.
one, what do you do to those people? Like, I
No, I'm right there with you.
it's like saying we need to cancel all mortgages, all federal mortgages. It just and it's a conversation that if it was in that sense, people would just laugh it off. They would never even
Yeah.
discuss it. They'd be like, haha, okay, okay.
No, I agree. And what it comes down to, I think, is the matter of the problem is not in the current. I mean, what's done is done. You can't just cancel things when they go wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But going forward, you can look at the system in place, and the idea is to just go to the best name college that you can find that you can get into, really, because by and large, if you want to go to a school, there's a way to pay for it and go there. Whether or not you can actually afford it or should do it is a completely different matter. But if you can't, or if you want to go there and you get in, uh, more than likely you can find a way to get there. The problem really lies in that the idea that you can just go there for, you don't need a credit history, you don't need job income verification.
You can get
uh
$120,000 in debt without a
yeah,
job,
yeah,
without
I
ever
don't know
having a
any
job.
I don't know any 17-year-old with no income history that'll get funded for a mortgage for 175 or $125,000.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good point. It's not just because we cancel the student debt, it's not going to fix the problem. There's still going to
Mhm.
be more debt piling on. The cost of college has dramatically risen.
6% a year, eight
But
percent a year, six to
that's
eight.
also because all these jobs now require degrees, which honestly we're starting to move away from. If
Let's
you
move.
look at all
Yeah,
these,
Google.
look
You
at
don't
them.
need. Yeah, we've
Yeah,
talked about that
exactly.
before a couple of weeks ago, but
Which
yeah,
is a beautiful thing, honestly.
it is.
It's less right. My dad thinks I'm crazy. Sometimes I say it. I'm like, you know what? The way things should really work. You want to be a doctor. But you know what? I'm gonna go to the doctor that has a medical degree.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I mean, yeah,
I mean, some things have to have regulation, but in reality, we could have no regulation in everything, and the free market would shake out the losers.
yeah. I mean, listen, yeah,
Some people
I
will get
I
hurt in the
agree with you.
process, which is a horrible thing. That's why it couldn't be done in certain fields. But
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing. You need certain. I would say with our health. I mean,
yeah, I was just using that as an example.
no. I know what you mean. I have no problem with there being, um, extending qualifications or things that you have to do, but simply stating, like for the CPA, for example, you just have to have a certain level of master's credits to sit for the test. It's like,
Yeah,
how does a credit amount determine mastery of anything?
yeah,
Uh,
exactly. 100%.
Financial industry and financial services, you can get licenses, with a GED, and it's like, why are kids going to school and paying $150,000 to get 6 licenses that you need a GED to get?
Exactly. And you could just learn from a mentor everything you need to know
Yeah,
at the
or
end of
you
the
could
day.
or you could spend money to go to college for something else, if that's the case, something that might be able to build your practice in a different way.
A
Um,
100%.
but people don't know that. They just go into it blindly and sign wherever they say they need to sign to go wherever they want to go.
Honestly, the way I look at the college situation now,
Mhm.
if you're not going to go to one of the most top prestigious universities, because that's where you're going to make the best connections, whether it's
Mhm.
celebrities, kids,
Yeah,
hedge fund managers,
yeah.
kids.
Listen, if you're at Michigan's business school, like you've got the best chance out of anybody of getting
Yeah,
connections where you want to go. You
if
know
you're
what I'm
at
saying? Yeah.
Harvard, Yale, Cornell, you're at the top prestigious universities. I really think like it's totally worth it. If you're not going to do that, just go to community college.
Yeah, I
Your
mean,
4 year where you can live at home, pay
yeah,
in cash, and
yep.
then when you're done, hit the ground running hard.
I would agree. Yeah, especially if you want to do something in terms of you know, in terms of business entrepreneurship, something that way. There's just literally no reason to go and spend
Literally
extreme
the
amounts
best
of
feeling in
money.
the world was at first it didn't really hurt me as much, clicking the button for the stupid loans when I was
Mhm.
going freshman, sophomore year, Sienna. But the best feeling in the world was just clicking that button to transfer the money from my checking account to Farmingdale and knowing that was done. Game
Yeah.
over.
Yeah. It always feels good to just cut the check for something
Yeah.
up front. Yeah.
Yeah. It was,
And I mean, it was doable. That's the point. You were able to just
yeah.
because you're
And
able to
any,
cut a
you know what? At the end of the day,
$65,000 check.
if, for example, I think Farmingdale was like 2,700 a semester. At the
Mhm.
end of the day, anyone can latch on to that. You can work a summer and make enough to pay for your whole year. You just gotta want it.
Yeah. 100%.
I think college is accessible. People say college isn't accessible. That's one of the big arguments. Is like college isn't
No.
accessible. This whole thing, it's accessible,
Yeah. You just
100%. And Farmingdale isn't
limit.
even. Farmingdale is more expensive than Nassau Community College, so there's even
Mhm.
cheaper options. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, places up here you could probably go for $1,600 a semester. I mean, in New York State,
yeah,
if you can't pay for college, it's free. Well, room and board's not free, but you can
but
go to
yeah,
your local state school, and they're good schools. You can find good state schools, and
I know people who were paid to go to college
I do as well.
just based on their income, not based on their grades,
Yeah, I agree. I know
which is
them as well.
That's something I didn't really realize that happened. The only person I knew who ever got paid to go to college was my cousin. She literally got paid because her grades were so good. The college was like, "Yeah, we're gonna pay you to come."
Yeah,
So I
you
thought
love to
that was
see
like a
that.
thing. I didn't. Yeah, that's the way the market should work.
Yeah, paid per service. So now you got to feel bad if you're paying full price for college. You guys are stupid out there. If you're
Literally, I don't know. I don't know
Nah.
anyone. I don't know anyone who would ever like.
That
Come on,
paid actual ticket price.
like
No,
60 grand.
yeah, no.
Imagine, hold on. What was the ticket price of Siena? It was probably close to 55, 60.
I'm not even sure what it was, but yeah, no. I mean, just because
Imagine
we
that.
went to LaSallian school, well, Catholic schools. I got a large portion because I went to a Catholic school knocked off for LaSallian school.
Yeah.
Well, it was probably like 12%, 14%, but why not?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Um,
So what do you want to, should we swing off this topic, swing to something else?
yeah, because we got limited hours here. What do we want to talk? Amazon hires 427,300 in the first 10 months of the year.
Yeah. Oh, this is a great one. This is good. There's jobs out there.
Yeah,
Tons of jobs. Not
plenty
only
of
is
people saying
Amazon, not Amazon's
Go ahead.
hiring, I know CVS is hiring, Walgreens, Stop and Shop. Basically, any place that's considered an essential service is hiring like mad right now.
Yeah, I mean,
They
think
need
about it.
bodies.
People are just going to they can't go to X, Y, and Z, so they're just going to go down to they need to do something. They're going to go down to CVS and shop for a little bit,
Yeah.
whatever it may be. I mean, I think that the point Amazon was not in the top 10 in largest employers in the world in 2018, I think it is. Yeah, 2018, and per 2020 stats, they're probably going to be in the top 5. So they've if you go
Killed the
to
game.
if you go to relentless.com, I'm actually going to pull it up right now.
All right.
Relentless.com. Watch this. Misspelled it. How about that?
And Amazon is paying
Amazon
above minimum wage. Pretty sure they're minimum of 15, depending on where you are. Could be more in other places.
All right, you ready for this? Relentless.com goes right to Amazon. So that tells you what they're all about. They literally bought relentless.com.
Because they're relentless.
They're going to continue to
Taking it
hire.
all.
They're going to continue to build. We've talked about it before. Bezos knows that he said, 40 years from now, we could be gone. We could be completely taken out. So who am I to stop continuing to build? And he's gonna build. And people say, oh, what do you? It's not about the money for him. He's just building. He's playing a game that's. I mean, right now he's the best player of the game. And what do you think about this? You think about kind of Buffett and Gates in the last regime. Bezos and Musk has the new guard kind of taken over.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that when you said Bezos is the best in the game right now. He's definitely him and Musk are definitely competing for that title right now for sure. Musk has been moving that net worth up like no other. So is Bezos, but Bezos has been out of the game. I mean, they've both been in the game a while, but they're definitely the new king of the streets right now, at least. I wonder who's gonna donate all their money away first.
I would say Buffett first because Gates is about 65, and when you're worth 185 billion, you got the
No, no,
best
no,
doctor in the world.
I'm talking about out
Oh,
of
oh, oh,
Musk and
out of Musk
I don't
and yeah.
I don't think Musk's gonna give his money away, honestly.
No, no, I don't.
He's a savage.
I
I
don't
love it
think
though.
Bezos will. Well, he doesn't have any heirs, does he? Does he have kids?
Bezos?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, he does.
He
Okay.
has a daughter.
I did not know that. Oh, no, I didn't know that. You love to be that.
Yeah,
You
so he
love to
has a
be that
daughter.
one. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
I mean, and her mom is the richest woman in the world too. So
yeah. I mean, that's an incredible thing. That's an incredible thing.
yeah,
Powell.
yeah, go
No,
on.
go ahead. Go ahead.
But yeah, I think honestly, bold claim. I think Elon Musk passes Bezos by like give him a year.
Yeah, I mean, he just has his hand in so many different things that and I mean,
I
Tesla
know.
just continues to build.
It's amazing how he has like 3 other companies going too.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this is based off the idea that people are doing artificial intelligence and everything in some capacity, but we've talked about Tesla being a technology company and not a car company before.
Mm-hmm.
But if they can kind of break that barrier and have the self-driving car and achieve that level of autonomy, I guess, I think it's kind of a bet that once they hit that level, because they're scheduled to be first to hit that level, they're going to take off in terms of being able to build anything else autonomous, because it's really just about that the brain of the car that you're building.
Yeah,
Yeah, versus
that
the
first
actual car
successful
itself. Yeah,
ride.
and then you can duplicate that in as many different things as you can and make it smaller and smaller and smaller. And that's really
Who
the
knows?
game.
They could even sell that.
They
Sell
could,
that out to all the other car companies.
and that
License it like a software company.
yeah, I think there's you've seen a couple other car companies that are coming with their own things. So I would say that likely the ideas or the uh, trajectory is that all these car companies are going to try and build their own. But I think at this point Tesla is far outpacing everybody.
Definitely for
We
sure.
we talked about Tesla. What about Neo?
Now,
We had just talked we had just talked
Neo,
about it the other day, and then
I'm not gonna
breaking
lie.
news. Breaking
Last
news.
time I took a PL there, Neo, they were like $35. Now they're
Mm-hmm.
up at 50. But
Yeah.
am I gonna put the big short on Neo? Possibly. That's not financial advice. You'll probably lose all your money if you follow that. But yeah, I'm probably gonna short them because do I believe in Chinese companies? No, not at all. Do I believe in a Chinese company that's copying Tesla that doesn't have an Elon Musk? No, I really don't. And like, I like your point you said. I was thinking about that yesterday about how if the state backs them and starts pumping money into them, they really do have a huge backing. But at the end of the day, are the financials going to line up? Like, what if they get
No,
caught in fraud?
but it doesn't have. They don't. No, they don't have to. The reason that think about this, that they control who gets caught for fraud. There. What do you? I mean, it's think about what Jack Ma, that company. What was the fintech company that he was just going to release?
And group.
Ant Group. I'm sorry, I forgot the name. Uh, why do you think they called them on fraud?
That's because he was speaking
Because
out.
Jack
But
Ma
what
spoke up
about
against them.
what about Lunken Coffee?
Not a company with the not something that's on that level. That's gonna. I mean, you're talking about a company in Tesla that's blown up over the last 10 months, and China knows they need a competitor because that market's huge. And
I
because
mean,
they know that the artificial technology that comes along with it is huge. B. So here comes Neo along out of the blue, And of course, no matter what their financials say, no matter whether or not they even have a real car, which is in question right now, uh, the
Apparently, they
Chinese
have a
government
real
is just going to continue to pump money and pump money and pump money into it because they know they need a competitor to go alongside Tesla.
Yeah,
As
but what I'm
Tesla
saying
has
is,
risen, just like Jack Ma has his hand in, has Alibaba, which is the Amazon of China. They continually just second these companies, copy these companies, copy these companies because they know they need them, or the U.S. is going to take over, or is going to be able to
mhm.
have the edge over them. So every time something new and something uh, groundbreaking per se comes along, they copycat the company, put it out, and then the government just continually pumps money into it and says, "Oh, this is a great company. U.S. investors put your money in. This is great. Uh, woohoo!" And I fear that down the road, this is by the China made in China 2025, we're going to see that a lot of these companies um, are just not as sound as we believe them to be.
Yeah, I really don't think they are sound companies. And at the end of the day, I feel like eventually short sellers here will start
Mhm.
gripping into them.
Yeah,
And that's when
just
stuff
reached.
starts
It's
unfolding.
yeah.
At the end of the day, if they get delisted from an American exchange for doing something illegal, there's nothing that can save the stock.
No, no, that's very true.
Which is why, like, I don't trust any Chinese company like that. If you're not,
no, and that's you know,
that's like saying I want to invest in. I mean, I don't know what it was
I
like
mean,
during the Soviet
I,
Union,
yeah,
but that's like saying I want to invest in a Soviet Union company. I don't know how I'd feel about that.
and it's not even in some senses it really is, but my biggest thing, the markets just don't trade like U.S. markets over there.
Definitely
And
not.
at least for me, I know U.S. markets. I don't know how those markets work. So I'm just not going to allocate capital to a market that I really don't know how it works, and I really don't trust. On top of that, now I see value in some uh, emerging market type things, maybe sometimes in some specific plays that I eye myself, but not necessarily in terms of the biggest emerging market still, I guess, in China, just because their markets trade so can I don't even counterintuitively to how U.S. markets trade really.
I just think it's wild. I mean, they're not the only country to do it, but they
No,
limit
no, no, they're not the only
short
country that I
sailing.
believe like that
They
too.
limit like short sailing and all that.
Yes,
Remember
that's what I
when
mean.
the crash was coming down, they were like, all
Yep.
right, you can't
Nope.
short sell,
Can't
you can't.
short.
What else did
That's
they
not.
do? They definitely shut. Oh well, their market was shut down when this all happened for that week. They were in a
Yes. Yeah.
holiday.
Yeah.
They were in a holiday
New
when
Year's.
we
Yeah. The
when we
Chinese New Year.
first crashed.
Yeah. The Chinese
Yeah,
New Year.
but that's when they banned short selling and all that. Italy did the same thing. That is wild.
Yeah.
That they
That's
were talking about that could be a step on the U.S. markets, but that I don't think so. That would be.
uh let's flip. I'll talk about I got a quote here from Powell's testimony just about an hour ago. And then we'll flip into some subsequent topics off that. But Powell said that the U.S. economy remains in a damaged and uncertain state, uh, though recent news on a vaccine is quote very positive uh, for the medium term is what Powell said. So kind of hinting at some uncertainty and some instability in the real economy, which is kind of obvious at this point.
I think it was very
It,
obvious.
it brings along the questions of melt up. Are we in melt up in the financial markets? Um, what do you think about that one? You think we're in melt up? You think it's a
He said, well, I also have another quote here. He said we still have a long way to go on the recovery. And honestly, the stock market, I mean, we just hit all-time highs. So apparently the stock market is saying something else. But at the same time, I think there's definitely a disconnect right now between the stock market and the real economy. Got
there's no question.
companies announcing layoffs. I don't know about you, but all the stores I go into, definitely less employees, more lines. Like it's
Yeah, let
just
me. I'm actually going to talk about, and that this brings me into the question I just wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about commercial real estate, and that type of thing. But I wanted to mention I was in the mall on Black Friday, and Michaela had dress from months ago that she bought from J.C. Penney that she wanted to return. So we go into J.C. Penney. A the it's dying visibly. Looks, I mean, I think
Yeah.
about, when I would go to Penny's with my grandmother at like 7 or 8 years old. And it was a vibrant store. People are bouncing around. Macy's the same way. Macy's is held itself though, and they're a little bit of a higher
You still
class
have
than
Macy's
J.C.
near you?
Penney's. Yeah, we do, and they're still pretty
All our
vibrant.
Macy's closed.
Yeah, but the J.C. Penney, uh, like you said, no employees. It's a four-person register. We go to check out. Uh, there's only one girl at one register, so three closed. The lights are all dim and everything. There's four people in line ahead of us. We're waiting while someone's arguing about whether her $20 in points have been applied to her $45 order. I'm waiting in line for 15 to 20 minutes while this happens. Finally, I get up to the counter. She goes, "Oh yeah, we don't do returns here." You're joking. We go to another thing. She goes, "Oh, it's downstairs." All right. So I go downstairs, right down the stairs. The register's right there. Same, same level. Upstairs is at the same spot. You go down the stairs at the same spot here. Wait in line for, two or three people, 10 minutes. Get up to the thing. We don't do returns here. We were just told to come down here. What do you mean you don't do returns? But meanwhile, there was one girl at a four
Yeah.
register thing there. She goes, "Yeah, you have to go to betting to do your returns." That's absolutely absurd. I go over to betting. Okay. There's nobody at the return register at betting. I'm waiting for probably another 10 minutes. Finally, someone walks by. I'm like, "Excuse me, like, can somebody help me out?" "Oh yeah, sure." Comes over and finally returns the thing. But
It was a process for no
it was a
reason.
process. There was no employees there. Um, didn't look like there was very many customers there either. The place looked like it was dying and just burning out. And
Definitely.
yeah,
I went shopping Thanksgiving week. I was in a
Mhm.
big mall and I was there at like 6:30 at night. A bunch of the stores were closing at 7 o'clock. That's not including all the storefronts that were closed. Is it not
Not
opening
coming
back up?
back. Yeah,
Yeah. It is honestly in the small business wrecked. Absolutely
destroyed,
wrecked.
destroyed. And that's another thing wanted to talk about. Uh, 1/3 of businesses in New York and New Jersey are closed. 28.3% in New York City and 31% in New Jersey of small businesses have closed and remain closed right now. And lockdowns looking like they're coming back. New York City schools go home from school, which means parents can't go to work again. So lockdowns look like they're coming back. What is how, how far will this go? How far can it go?
I don't know. Like we were discussing yesterday, I think some of the more blue liberal states, we're definitely seeing the major lockdowns come.
Yeah, I
And it
agree.
does seem like they're coming soon. And it seems like the narrative's getting set up,
Yeah.
the cases
Now,
are rising, yada yada yada.
just speaking from my view up here, what I see up here is that, and I don't know how much it works with lockdowns, but I know, with the Thanksgiving Day restrictions and stuff like that, it seemed like towns were kind of taking, counties were taking their own separate approaches. So I wonder how small, just in hot spots, there's serious lockdowns or different things like that. It may get, but I do see lockdowns coming definitely for New York City, definitely for Chicago. LA, you can't even step outside of your home without a bubble suit on, or you get
Yeah.
arrested. Um, so yeah, I agree.
Yeah, well, I had something when you first started talking about that.
The
Oh, oh, about Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
About Thanksgiving. I don't think anyone enforced that. To be
No,
honest,
yeah.
I saw some tweets. I saw some tweets how you were speaking on the sheriff
Mhm.
up there said something.
Yeah. The sheriff
Yep.
said,
Said, don't worry. Don't worry. They were just like, don't worry. We're not coming
yeah,
knocking
we're
on
not
anyone's
coming.
doors.
Yeah.
But honestly, around here, I haven't really heard of any neighbors ratting on neighbors for anything of that nature. The
No, I
only
haven't
thing
either.
I have heard was in New York City,
Mhm.
someone called on my dad's plumbing company.
Oh, for
And
what?
there
Not wearing the mask?
yeah, there was dudes
Uh,
outside smoking cigarettes without masks on.
How do
And
you
now
smoke a cigarette with a mask on?
bro, I don't know. So some fucking neighbor called, and then the building, like the
Yeah.
Department of Buildings came in and fined them mad money and like ripped them
Oh
apart
man,
because he went into the bathroom and they didn't have hand sanitizer in the bathroom, and it was just became like, they ripped him on
devastating.
every single little thing. So now my dad literally said, so like, yo, I said that they're probably 60 plumbers in this shop, right? So in the morning, all of them go into the office. They hand in their tickets from the day before, and they get their new job tickets for the day.
Mhm.
Now that line starts at 7 in the morning and it goes till around 8. And normally they would all get into the office, and they're a little staggered. So they just got to be there by 8. But like my dad shows up at 7:15, so he can be the first in there and get it done quicker, so he
Mhm.
doesn't have to wait online as long. But now, because of all these new COVID restrictions and the man doesn't want to get popped again and get another fine,
Yep.
he only lets like 6 people in the office at a time. Now
Mhm.
they got a line going a whole block's length from 88th Street to 87th Street, like
Mhm.
of
Jesus,
plumbers blocking all these stores. It looks
terrible.
ridiculous.
That's
It
funny.
looks
No, it does.
absolutely
Yeah, I know.
ridiculous.
So let's flip to commercial real estate. Well, we're kind of on it, I guess. What do you see as the outlook? What is it? Is it like uh, the next
I would hate
newspaper? Does it just get phased out by something else? What?
no, no. I don't, it depends on what we're talking about. Now, would I hate to own a mall right now? Hell yeah. Would I like to own a couple little office buildings that house like financial advisors,
Yeah,
more,
yeah. So,
things of that
no,
nature, like
yeah,
mortgage
yeah.
brokers, things that
I,
people that are
I'm
always going
more
to want to get out
talking.
of
I'm
the
more
house.
talking in the big cities, bigger buildings, things like that. You're a guy with, a $2 billion real estate portfolio. You got, a couple 100 million worth of debt. So you're not really, you know what I'm saying. But you got these big
Yeah.
buildings. What are you doing? Because you can't think that offices are going to go back to in 3.5 years. What do you think?
I'm buying
Max
farmland.
capacities at 70, 80% max.
Yeah, well, I think there's going to be, we've already started to see it in the fact that, for example, I believe I want to say it's Morgan Stanley,
Mhm.
but they moved a lot of their back office roles to, I want to say, where is it? Freaking, it's right outside New York City, but it's north, like it's Westchester, somewhere in
Mhm.
Westchester.
Mhm.
And so they've been moving roles there for a while. So I feel like there's going to be a lot more of that. They're going to move them out of the main cities
Yep.
because they're not going to want to pay for
Mhm.
that office space when they can pay for cheaper office space further out. And
And that pushes the boom of residential real estate even more because you see people coming up here constantly from the city. I mean, buying a couple homes up here, um, their house and a couple rentals up here because they'll take, I'm going to work for home 3 or 4 days a week, and I'll, if I got to go down there, I got to drive to, White Plains now, or somewhere in Westchester, wherever it may be, instead of going all the way into the city. So it only takes me, 2 hours flat, an hour 45 if I'm cruising. Um, that's much more doable. I don't mind getting more land, more bang for my buck, and going up an hour 45 north. So that pushes the residential real estate even further. But back to kind of the commercial space, those big buildings are the places where you're going to have to worry about, uh, exactly, companies moving out. And like you were saying, with what did you say, Morgan Stanley it was?
yeah, I believe
Yeah.
it's either Morgan Stanley or Merrill Lynch. I know
Uh, I
I want
know
to say it's not New Paltz. It's not New Paltz. Oh, what is it? Newburgh? Maybe no, it's not Newburgh either.
American Express, for example, they have all their call centers are now home. They're working from home. They dial into a VPN and they just call. So it eliminates, Phoenix is one big spot that they are. Um, I think Dallas or somewhere in Texas, they have another big, where their big call centers are, and those are no longer needed. The people are just working from home. Why are they going to pay for those call center people to be in office when there's literally no, especially for those
And then
tens of thousands of jobs, literally no need for them to be in person. They just
For the
answer the
same
phone and give you a solution.
for the same reason, why wouldn't that call center person then who lives in probably, right outside Dallas,
Mhm.
spends mad money percentage wise of their
Mhm.
salary on housing? Why wouldn't they just move
No,
to
they're
the
going
middle of
to.
nowhere? To the
Yeah,
middle of nowhere.
they're
Yeah,
going to. They're going to.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's gonna change. I think in the short run, it's gonna change the dynamics a little bit. That's why I think a good move would be some undeveloped land right now.
Yeah.
Just straight. If I
Yeah.
if I found like a nice 50-acre plot somewhere
Mhm.
that I could scoop up
Mhm.
quick on like a foreclosure foreclosure or
Foreclosure.
something,
Yeah.
I would definitely
And
take it.
you think about like we were talking about the other day when we were just talking about airlines, but the same type of thing is possibly going to apply to commercial real estate now in terms of the hub and spoke model. So the bigger companies, they'll have, a bigger office in Manhattan, in Chicago, in LA, and, Dallas and Miami, wherever it may be. And then they're going to have just smaller boutique shops around those big locations. Instead of having bigger offices in the smaller areas, they're just going to spread those smaller out to even smaller, but a little bit more spread out because people are going to be remote for the most part. And then just, if you need to come into the office, come to this little, we got our 2,000 square foot Morgan Stanley office space with, a couple conference rooms. You go there if you need. Swipe your swipe card, it all works. But if you need to go to another city the next day, you can go to the Morgan Stanley office, and that's closest to that one. Swipe your swipe card works the same.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting landscape. I feel like fields are definitely still gonna be office bound for the most part. Who
Who is
wants
that? You
to
said.
it's professional fields. What
Mhm.
architect, what engineer is gonna want to have to? I mean, maybe some people like it. They'll have their office at their house. They'll
Mhm.
have their dedicated space. But
Mhm.
I feel like a lot of people, they're gonna want to be able to go into the office in the morning. It's a different aura when you're in the office.
Yeah,
I know
no, and I
like
agree. And I love being in the office rather than home. But I know, I think about my guys like my dad. They don't. Uh, he worked from home as it was, and then he's on the road. He's traveling, and then he comes back home, and then he goes back on the road. If he needs to stop at the office maybe once a week, he'd stop at the office before. But uh, especially now, like not there's probably some of the guys that were like him that would stop at the office, 2 or 3 times a week instead of one time. But now everybody is just you're going one time a week if you're allowed to go, and if you come in, you gotta submit a test and all this. And even when there's the vaccine and stuff, those guys are not going to transition to, I'm coming back 2 or 3 times a week because they're just going home, going out to whatever job site it is, or going out traveling
yeah.
to wherever they have to be, coming back home. They don't, I stop at the office one day a week because I gotta, pick stuff up, drop stuff off. That's it. Why do
No,
you need? You don't need the little, tons of conference rooms. You don't need 8,
yeah,
desks
definitely.
for phone center people.
Definitely. And I think a lot of those jobs, like customer service, so like the phone center, what other type of jobs really? Even like those retail jobs, because like I said, I was talking about the mall, a lot of jobs closing.
Yeah.
Macy's, all the Macy's around me closed. Like
Mhm.
that's jobs. Sears closed. Sears closed a few years back. Like,
Yeah, and that's the thing. Those are mass employers. They employ mass amounts of people, and
yeah, when
when
you
they
add it up
close
across the
all in an
country,
area, yeah, I mean, you probably lost what 8, 9 Macy's over, you know, a
no, well, at
large
least two,
swath.
at least two that I know of.
Well, yeah,
Well,
that's
near me,
local to
near
you.
me.
Yeah, yeah. The
Yeah, yeah.
island, yeah,
Yeah, the island probably lost 4 or 5.
yeah,
I know
and
there. I know the
that's
only Macy's right now
a
that
couple
is like,
thousand people a pop.
yeah, the only Macy's that is safe is 34th Street. That's it. The one in Manhattan.
Well, yeah, that's the Macy's.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
only one that's safe right now.
yeah. Uh, brother, that's and it's why, like I said though. So on that, commercial real estate not necessarily going to be the next newspaper, but our mall is going to be the next newspaper. Are they just our malls done? They're gone forever.
I don't know. This has been something that we've been seeing for a few years now. People have been saying that, that the whole brick and mortar store is transitioning and that now it's
Mhm.
more of an experience than it is a
That's what I
shopping.
was going. Yeah. Yep.
But I don't know if people really at least in this COVID age, people don't really care about the experience. People just want their stuff. People don't
Well,
want to
that's
go.
the tough part. As soon as they came up with this new idea that they were gonna go forward with, a wrench was thrown right in that. There's, that idea is out the door. People aren't going to go. That you're not going to go and
Yeah,
stop at the, go to the whatever shop it is, and then go to the little bowling alley and or the place that opens up and has the bowling alley and the golf simulator and the arcade. You're not touching
yeah.
the arcade. You're not going to play. You're not going bowling right now. You know what I mean? It's uh,
That's something honestly that I've thought about before, and the fact that malls they were at one point more of an attraction type thing. I don't
mm,
know. I don't know when you were little, but when I was little, all the malls near me used to have like merry-go-rounds in them and like
yep.
crazy
Yeah.
stuff like that. Now none of them do.
Yeah. I mean, I think when I was 12, yeah, probably 11, 12, 13. That's what you like Saturday night. Where you going to the mall?
Yeah,
Like if
yeah,
if my sister was like, oh, I'm going to hang out at the mall now, or my little brother who's 13, 14, you went to go hang out at the mall now, I'd be like, what the hell is wrong with you? Where are you
yeah,
going? But it was normal. It was normal back in the day.
yeah. No, it's
Changed the
definitely
shift.
different.
Yeah. Uh, you want to talk about these SPACs, or you want to push that off for another?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
All right. Go ahead.
we
Have
could,
that.
we could touch up on it a little bit right now.
Yeah.
Everything these days is just come out blank check
Explain
companies.
first, because I would say a lot of people, you say SPACs, they have no idea what you're talking about.
All right, do you want to pull up like the official definition for them while we speak on here? You pull it up. You pull up pull up like the Investopedia of SPAC while well, basically they're a special acquisition company, SPAC, special purpose acquisition
Yeah,
company.
special purpose acquisition company.
And so basically you're throwing your money at the people who start the SPAC. So they start the SPAC, they sell the shares. Now they have, let's say it's $1 million, just for an easy. They're going to take that $1 million and it's special purpose. They can use it for anything. They can start investing it. They can start a company. There could be a product behind it already. Obviously there's something behind it. Give us $1 million so we can do something with it. They have some type of idea already, or else they wouldn't get investors.
Mhm.
But basically, in that aspect, they have total control. Not that other companies don't have total control of the money, but there's usually stipulations behind it in the prospectus of what the
Yep.
money's being raised for, whatnot. These companies are they're given free reign.
Yeah.
Absolute free reign.
Free reign, special for whatever special purpose that SPAC is for. Put your money in it, and they go to work, either investing it, buying, merging with other firms, whatever it may be. It's essentially just a value creation fund. Like you're just looking to create
Yeah.
value in any way, shape or form. And they always come up with these new names or these new terms where things get hot for private equity. Essentially, is what it is. Uh, in a sense, I wouldn't say
In
that.
a way, yeah, definitely.
I guess it's private equity merged with buying publicly traded shares of company. You're just buying
It's a
a
new
PE
product.
firm. You're buying into a PE firm essentially, and
I forgot what SPAC it is. It's
but
pissing me off that I
they've
can't
been
remember it right
popping
now.
off lately, just going crazy, and especially with uh, you know tons of these. I wouldn't say smaller companies, but Wall Street bet stocks, just meme stocks, are going crazy in this time of the Robin Hood trader, and these SPACs have professional managers, and they're able to easily spot these things and hop in, and they've been killing it over the last 10 months, just along with the Robin Hood trading kings.
Yeah, it's the Robin Hood Trading Kings. You know how I feel on that.
Yeah, their day will.
They're so wild. They get what they're. You know what? If they cash out with their 300%, 400% on the year gains, good for them. I
Yeah,
respect it. Everyone wishes they could hit a lick like that at the end of the day.
100%. Yep.
And a lot of people resent them for that. And that's not why I resent them. I resent them for the fact that they think they're invincible. They just think they're so
For the
invincible.
time being, they have been, though. That's the
No,
thing.
they
It's
have.
just,
They
we
definitely
talk
have
about
been.
melt up and things like that. It seems that we're just in a large equity bubble, and I don't want to put any calls on it or anything like that. And I'm not, even in my professional career, I'm not, putting anything into that, idea, I guess, yet, because I still do see the market continuing to pump for the foreseeable future, at least right now. But it makes you wonder, especially when you talk about the disconnect between that and the real economy. How far can it disconnect? Because it's been more than 10 months of disconnect, and I won't even say that actually, because I saw strength somewhat through 2022ish before, but that's not stating that there wasn't some disconnect at a point before the coronavirus, and it's just lengthened the spread at this point.
Definitely. Now let me ask you about this. Did you see who was it? They just put out, I'm not going to say what bank it was because I completely forgot, but I want to say it was a big bank. It was like JP Morgan or whatever.
Yeah.
They said they were bullish on equities. Then like less than a week later, they come out and they say they're underweighting equities now. So they're no longer bullish.
Yeah.
So what is that? How are they coming out? Well, one, it was probably two separate analysts that worked for the same firm.
Two separate analysts.
But still, it seems like these big banks, they're always making these calls. And they're flip-flopping every other day.
Yeah, and it's whatever suits their positions at the time, I think. And
exactly.
Yeah. So it comes down to, and I'll give it to them, the fluidity of information flow at this time. There's so many different things happening every day that your outlook can change.
I agree with that as well. If you're on the short-term basis, the outlook is changing every day.
Yeah, I also think that the firms need to understand, and I think they do understand this full well, actually, that their word or their statements like that are big news to people that are buying and selling
retail investors.
Equity, to retail investors. So it's and I think, like I said, I think they full well know that, and I think they make statements like that for for their own purposes, knowing that. But yeah, I mean, am I surprised that they're flip flopping back and forth like that? Am I surprised that there's analysts that are thinking different things? No, not necessarily, but I don't agree with it necessarily either.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. The whole we've hit record trading revenues on all these big banks.
Yeah,
I feel like they're trying to keep that going. With these low yields, where are they supposed to make money?
That's exactly the point. And I mean, even with high yields, it's their most lucrative thing. And especially when you get into the fact that these are publicly traded banks, their purpose, and rightfully so, is to turn profit. And the only way they're going to do that at this point is through trading revenues, largely.
Yeah, and especially now that we got Yellen in there might be a little bit of slowdown, a little more regulation on these trades. So
you think so?
Maybe you have all these SPACs.
Do you actually think so in this time that they're going to implement regulation on the trading and stuff like that?
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Even if they know it'll hurt markets.
Yeah, because I don't think it's going to hurt markets long term.
Why?
It's only going to hurt. It's going to be a little bit.
Why on one hand would she print money, and on the other hand do things to bring it back down in terms of regulation?
Because I don't think necessarily every regulation is going to destroy the market. Like if she puts a regulation that should.
If you took a large profit center from these banks.
No, I'm not saying that.
Because not only are they going to have to pull back on their own spending, but they're not going to lend. Their lending standards are going to in turn get stricter because.
No, I'm talking about regulation. I'm talking about regulation possibly in the areas of maybe like SPACs, things of that nature. Because
how much is that type of thing? How much is that type of thing fueling this market right now? How much are things?
I don't think
people hopping
if you look at those
fueling markets.
I think if anything you look at, so what's really fueling the markets right now is Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix,
it has become a very
Microsoft.
A very market cap weighted market. I don't disagree, and especially when you're looking at the S&P, which is market cap weighted. As these firms continue to get bigger, the bigger ones, and they're going to have more pull on the markets. And you're not slowing those guys.
Don't get me wrong. I think the ones that are making all these Robinhooders mad money are not those stocks. It is the SPACs. It's the space. It's the
and that's what I meant by saying
here.
So how much does that hurt, the retail investor
Mm,
and their impact on the real economy even
I'll be
further?
honest.
Or are those
We've
people, they're not spending that capital either way, so it's not being liquidated into the economy and then respent?
I feel like a lot of these um Wall Street better retail investors. One, I feel like there's not as many of them as we think. And at the end of the day, there's a lot
And no,
more long
I,
term.
I don't think there's a lot of them. I would agree with that in saying that I don't think there's a lot of these guys. I
Their
think
voice is
they're
amplified.
far and few between. Just as anything, yeah, they're like you just said.
There's people that like to emulate them that pretend to be a Wall Street better. They're playing with $500,
Five
$600.
hundred bucks in the market.
But then
Yeah,
there's other sickos that you see on there and they lost like 400,000 in like 6 months.
there
And
are.
it's
Yeah,
like, all
that's
right, buddy, like might be time to stop playing with Wall Street bets.
yeah. You should stop betting with Portnoy.
Yeah. What
Um,
does Portnoy even day trade anymore? That was like he that was all publicity stuff. That was
I
all
really don't
publicity.
know. I honestly don't know. He's
He
he's on the
had
news
himself
channels
going.
though now these days. I guess the
I
Fox
know.
Business and all that stuff. Well, good for him. He's an entrepreneur
I
through and
mean,
through, and yeah, he built
definitely.
it from the
No,
ground up. I do give it that.
I would love to sit down. As much as I don't really like the man, I would love to ask him about his,
Oh,
how he built it up from the ground because that it
no
definitely
doubt.
took. And even honestly, I heard this take on I don't like Jake Paul, but yo, someone said they were like he's the ultimate example of if I want it, I'm gonna go get it.
Yeah, he's a Trump. He's a Musk. He's one of those personalities.
He
I mean,
really
might
is.
be
He
on a
decided,
different
what?
level, but yeah, he's a
He made this 30 million. He made his YouTube, and then he decided, all right, now I want to be a rapper. And he got his song to the top
no, no,
100
no, no,
Billboard.
no, no, no,
Then
no.
he
I'm
decided
talking
I
about.
want to be a 100.
I'm not talking. I don't know anything about that kid. I'm talking about Portnoy. Is a Musk, is a Trump type personality in that
No,
he,
definitely.
yeah,
No, definitely. And that kid, I'm saying all these people that even these big
yeah. Those
YouTubers, they all
no,
are.
I agree.
They
Yeah,
see the vision, they see their vision, and they go get their vision. Just
yeah,
like
yeah. Think about that when you're making that guy making his first video or whatever. It's like yeah, he had to have real vision of what it could be, and he's big, and these dudes make real money. Some of them.
yeah, 100%. Jake
Yeah,
Paul makes millions upon millions of dollars,
yeah.
and he's done it in multiple streams. And like you said, so he's got that Trump Musk. Look at Trump. How many different businesses he said, I want to go do this. I'm going to go do it.
Uh-huh.
Musk, I want to go do it. I'm going to go do it.
Uh-huh.
And even Portnoy, how many different things has he done now? He's done the day trading, the pizza reviews. He gets the idea and he latches on.
Yeah, he is a master marketer. So is Trump. Master marketer.
Yeah.
So is Musk, actually. And a good salesman and a massive personality, and he knows how to rile his troops. And so many those guys that we just talked about, and others like them, that's what they know how to do. They know how to rile the troops and get a crowd behind them.
Yeah, 100%.
What do you want to turn to? I know we got COVID hospitalizations reaching all-time highs. I guess we'll turn to a little bit of COVID here before we have to wrap it out and hop on again later this week. But yeah, so we got COVID hospitalizations at new record highs. LA County supervisor, this is a good one, votes to ban outdoor dining and then goes directly to a restaurant and is caught out eating in a restaurant directly after voting no or voting to ban indoor dining. So that's and that's happened multiple times, and it's something that I was beside myself the first time I saw it. But just so many different people, and nothing ever comes of it. Nothing's ever come of it. They've never had more than a little bit of a tongue lashing from the other side, it seems, really. But
that's why at this point, if I own a small business, I don't know why these small business owners haven't just started doing what they wanted in the terms of opening. And if I was a gym, I would open and I'd have as many people as I wanted in there. I would have been open for the past 4 months. How about Newsom? On that note, he just tweeted out on Saturday, oh, it's a small business Saturday. Get out there and support California's like 34 million small businesses, yada, yada, yada. Like, buddy, your small businesses are closed. You close them.
Exactly. Yeah, close them all. And you talk about gyms. I don't know about down near you, but I know up here, gyms had maybe out of all subsects in terms of businesses, I think gyms had the lowest transmission rate out of literally any businesses, and
They do
there's
so
a
much
lot
cleaning to begin with.
to begin with. Every time, you just wipe your thing up, you go on to it's something that's already been ingrained in their culture for years. And not only that, but uh, people who work out are generally far healthier than people who don't work out. When
Definitely.
you work out, you're healthy. When you work out, your lungs are healthy. Your body is healthy. Your mind is healthy. Uh, it probably says something to the fact that you know those people are not at risk and thus can go about their days. Whereas nursing homes obviously are by and large, I saw something 1 in 9 or something like that. 1 in 9 of America's nursing home uh, population has had COVID or died from COVID or something of that nature. And it's just
Jeez.
ridiculous sums. Like that's what I mean. Schools, kids need to be in school. They can't be coming home. Not only just because parents thus have to not go to work, they have to work from home if their kids are home because they have nowhere else to send them. But also because kids obviously,
Did you just
that's
get
the fact
frozen?
that no, you just flipped off. You're good. Kids
Okay,
obviously
okay,
learn
good.
better in school, in class, 100%, no question about it. Uh, and the transmission rates are extremely, extremely low. And not only that, but you see it. Place gets, kid gets sick, they send them home, send the whole class home or whatever. They don't even have to send the whole school home. They send that class home. When everybody leaves, they do a full-on cleaning. Maybe take a day off to do a deep clean and air it out, and then the next day they're back in school, or a couple days later they're back in school, just fine, and it goes away just like that, and they don't have to worry about it anymore. 1, 2 kids maybe get it, but that's really it. So I just don't understand why we can't judge it on subsection, uh, what is more likely from transmission, what is not more likely for transmission. Uh, and even in that case, we've talked about so many times, you have the freedom to make your own decisions. So uh, even, people talk about, well, what about, even if I know I'm making smart decisions and doing responsible things to do what I need to do, what if there's, what about the stupid people, or what about the irresponsible people who are not going to do what they need to do, this, that, and another thing? It's like, well, thus the freedom to make your informed decision to stay home, to avoid eating out in public places, to, uh, uh, you know, to not go to the malls or the movie theaters or whatever it may be, to eat healthier. But in the same sense, those people who are knowing of those risks and willing to accept the risks, why are they not allowed to go and do whatever it is
100%.
that they choose to do? It's just
And the wild part is the answer the politicians are going to have is lockdown.
yeah, in many places, and like we said, there's places that never locked down. There's places that did lock down and they won't lock down again. I know North Carolina. I have a buddy that's down in North Carolina. He's a cop down there, and everybody wears not everybody wears a mask. People in the large, he lives in Raleigh, cop in Raleigh. People in Raleigh wear their masks. He said you go to a Walmart and out the outskirts, a little bit outside of Raleigh, into the country per se, a little bit. Uh, they look at you weird if you're wearing your mask in Walmart. They're all just walking around. But he said in those places, a lot of times there's 1 or 2 people get it, and then it's non-existent. He said I know 10 to 12 people in New York personally who are friends who have had it, and he said down there I know one person out of everybody that I know down there that has had it.
It's
And
wild.
yeah, so it's just a weird thing.
Honestly, what I don't get is how people think when lockdowns didn't work the first time, they said we're going to lock down for 2 weeks, then we're going to be good.
Yeah,
Why is it going to work this time?
yeah. If
No,
lockdowns
even if we
if
do it different.
lockdowns work, why do we need a second lockdown?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
And it didn't work the first time. They've admitted that. So why is it going to work this time?
yeah, no, and I agree. But and the question becomes then why did it work in places? I saw something in Vietnam. They shut down all their international travel because they had their first recorded case in 3 months. Now they haven't had a case in 3 months. They locked everything down. It worked. But on the flip side of that, there's places who locked. I mean, you look at Europe. There's places that locked everything down. Videos of people getting beat in Italy because they walked outside their door
Yeah.
by police. Um, and I mean, they're right back to ravage. So it's very hit or miss as to whether or not it
Yeah.
works.
I honestly don't know why that happens. I honestly don't even have a hypothesis on why it
Uh,
works out like that, to be honest.
I mean, I don't either, and I would say I would say by and large, there's pretty healthy people that live a pretty long time in Italy, places like Italy, and they're getting crushed. And there's probably other places that people don't and to live a long time that aren't getting crushed. I mean, the U.S. we have some generally pretty unhealthy people. Thus, when it comes here, it's probably going to hit a lot
Yeah.
of people hard, and we don't even think about that. But how many people do you know that are just not in any type of good shape at all, or have other things that are just so unhealthy,
We're a
and
very unhealthy country.
very unhealthy people?
It's another one of those things. Treating COVID is not treating the underlying sickness. The underlying
Yeah,
sickness is the
and
fact that
that's
we don't
another
eat
thing that
good
goes
food.
that goes hand in hand with the kids needing to be in school. How much autoimmunity are we building, or especially kids building every day when they're interacting with other kids at school? When we all do go back to school, how many kids are going to get terribly sick from the regular cold, or how many kids are going to get the regular cold who never had it before because they had built autoimmunity, and it's they're no longer able to build that. You know what I'm saying? By by not interacting with people. So how much, even us, how much autoimmunity were we building by interacting with everybody on a daily basis that now we're not
Yeah, yeah,
building
it's
because we're not.
wild stuff. They wanted us to literally be in our houses all summer. Think about that. It's wild.
So yeah, it is wild. Uh, then on the with that said, little bipartisan announcement that a bunch of senators on both sides of the aisle would all vote to extend PPE to March 31st of 2021. I don't know, like you said you didn't know if that was unemployment benefits as well.
No, it
But
wasn't PPE.
it,
They said something else to 2031
I
March
believe I
20.
believe PPP or PPE was extended to that. No,
Um, um,
PPP.
it says they would fund COVID relief measures through March 31st. So I would assume that would be part of that too.
Okay, yeah, so that likely does include unemployment benefits and everything
Yeah,
through March 31st, 3031. Um, that is going to continue to rile Bitcoin and continue to drop the dollar on 1 cent. But what else do you think it means? I mean, people continuing to hold out on. We talked about 427,000 jobs Amazon created in 10 months. There's places that are creating jobs that are hiring, and meanwhile, people are taking the time to roll in unemployment benefits out to freaking March. Now it's looking like March, and that's going to be an entire year for some people on unemployment, if not more.
yeah, that literally will be an entire year for some people on unemployment. And we were talking about there is jobs available. Amazon's hiring, CVS is hiring, Stop and
Yeah,
Shop is hiring. There's
yeah.
all these. So it might suck. You might not be able to get what you worked before. You might not be able to get that job in the restaurant or in the retail service industry, something. But you know what? You might have to go into the Amazon warehouse or the Amazon delivering, or go work at retail in CVS,
Mm-hmm.
deal with customers.
Yeah,
Sometimes you
many
gotta
many
adapt.
people. You got to do what you have to do. I mean, it sounds so simple, but I mean, there's a lot of people who've had jobs they didn't like for before because they
A
had to
long time.
put food on the table, and now that there's an option to you can still put food on the table. I think about there's another thing in there. My uncle is an accountant for the state, and they have him doing things like this at this point, answering the phones for these people that are weekly calling in to get $400 uh, a, a child for food expenses.
Yeah.
It might be every 2 weeks, but $400 a child in the family. And he said like the income limits are like over 100,000. So I mean, you make like
Jesus.
150,000, you could get four 400 a kid
100 per child.
for
Jeez.
food from this
Program.
COVID relief program, and we wonder why New York State's uh, uh, finances are
Running
in
out of money.
absolute shambles. And you can't continue to just give handouts. Meanwhile, you have AOC, who's supposed to be a woman of the people. Amazon, with that 427, they were coming in with 25,000 jobs in New York City at an average of like 125,000 a year. And
Those jobs wouldn't
nope,
have
nope,
disappeared.
nope, you can't do it. Because it's not fair. You're going to drive rents up. You're going to drive wages up, and that's the devil. And you know what? She screwed a lot of people. There's going to be, I
Mhm.
mean, if you think 25,000 jobs at an average of $125,000 a piece, um, that's big time employment right there. Even for
Yeah,
a place as it as filled with employment as the city, and a lot
yeah,
of those jobs, I would say all of those jobs wouldn't have been laid off, wouldn't have been cut in lockdowns or in the coronavirus period. They would have moved remotely, or they would have taken time off. Amazon was paying people when the time was off, and then they're going to go back to the factory and work in safe, clean factories from what they've been so far, or safe, clean packaging facilities, whatever it may be, because Amazon hasn't really had any terrible troubles with that. And you know, she puts her foot down and kiss that goodbye. And good for them. Good for Bezos. Good for Amazon for saying, okay, you know what? If
yeah.
you don't
We're
want our
out then.
business, we'll take it somewhere else.
Definitely.
Happily. That's a I don't even know how she lives after that one. That's one of the biggest ones. I know you're on a time schedule here. I am as well, but I do have till noon. I don't know what you want to wrap it
Yeah,
up here right now.
I gotta wrap up some stuff. So we could we'll be on later this week. We'll touch upon some topics that we get deeper into some topics here and touch upon some new topics for the week.
Yeah, I think I'm going to talk deeper on the whole unemployment cycle and what that's happened.
Definitely.
Um, I actually have a guest in mind that I might bring on for a little opinion on that matter. We'll
All
see
right, all
there.
right.
But yeah, we'll talk on employment. I'm sure there'll be some market news in the coming days. Um, Possible lockdowns probably coming for some states. I would see we see some more COVID regulations as hospitals continue to hit an all-time high. I still have probably 4 or 5 things on my list that I'm not going to reveal, but I'm going to roll over till next time. So with that said, we'll wrap it up for today and move on to Friday.
Yep.
We'll see you Friday.
Drop some comments in there if there's anything you guys want
Yeah,
us
like and
to see
subscribe.
us talk
Like and
about.
subscribe.
Like and subscribe, no doubt.